So let us look at the characteristics of information. So first, information must be accurate and correct. The information must be accurate and correct. I might not know how to measure the accuracy and the correctness of information, okay, but it's one of its characteristics. Free from errors and representing the facts as they are. Second, information must be complete, providing all the necessary details to understand the subject matter fully. Okay? There are some people at some point whereby they'll start a story, but they end up not concluding it. Okay? So in whichever we are doing, whenever we are conversating with others, be able to conclude. Okay? So the information must be complete, because if you don't conclude, that information is incomplete. Third, information must be relevant to the topic or subject matter at hand, avoiding confusion and leading to correct conclusions. There are some people today whereby they'll start a story, yet instead of continuing with the same story, they'll jump to another story. Okay? Mostly is in gossiping, like to those who gossip most. Okay? So make sure the information that you are giving out is relevant enough. Then fourth, information must be timely and up to date. Information must be timely and up to date, reflecting the most current information available. Other important characteristics of information include consistency. Okay? It should be the same throughout. Clarity. There must be clarity in that information given. Accessibility. That information needs to be accessible anywhere else. Reliability. We have to rely on that information. Why? Because, it must be correct and relevant enough. Objectivity and confidentiality. Information can take many forms. It can include text, images, audio, and video, as well as being transmitted or communicated through various channels such as books, newspapers, television, radio, the internet, and social media. So the nature and role of information will continue to evolve and shape our world, with its value and significance increasing in the digital age. So remember, here we are talking about the computer information. Okay? Accuracy as one of its characteristics, okay, as the characteristics of information. So accuracy, information should be accurate and correct, as we earlier stated. It should be free from errors and should represent the facts as they are. The information needs to be complete. So completeness. So information should be complete, providing all the necessary details to understand the subject matter fully. Okay? Then the information must be relevant enough. So relevance of the information. So information should be relevant to the topic or subject matter at hand. Irrelevant information can cause confusion and lead to incorrect conclusions. Timeliness. Okay, information should be timely and up to date, reflecting the most current information available. So you find that when you try to relate this current information as to the previous one, mostly the current information is more about computers, unlike back then. Okay? Then the information should be consistent enough. So consistency of the information is also important. Okay? So this is to avoid contradictions and discrepancies. Information needs to be very clear. So there must be clarity in that information. So information should be clear and easy to understand, using simple and concise language. Okay? Accessibility information under accessibility, you have information which should be easily accessible to those who need it in a format that is suitable for their use. That's why we have internet today. Whatever you want, you'll find that you will find it on the internet. So even if you access the information today, the same information after 10 years, you still find it. Okay, so that is the accessibility of the information. We need to rely on this information. Okay, so reliability of the information is another characteristics of information. So information should come from a reliable source and be supported by evidence or data. So don't give information which you don't have evidence, okay, you don't have where it's coming from, then you'll be called a liar. So make sure that information is reliable enough. Then objectivity, information should be presented objectively without bias or personal opinions.